Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 31 of Dreadful Talk. The first Dreadful Talk of 2021. Happy New Year, everybody. And yeah, we got a special episode planned for today with a guest. And I'll just introduce him here momentarily when he joins us. And actually, here he is right now. So let me get this quick sponsorship in real quick. This episode is sponsored actually by these t-shirts I'm wearing, these long sleeves. We got them for sale, y'all. Just DM at Dreadful Talk Dom on Instagram or Twitter to order one. And we ship nationwide. For those listening on audio platform, it's a long sleeve, comfort colors, super nice quality tees. Yeah, feel free just to DM one of those social media accounts to place your order, and we'll get it shipped out to you. And yeah, let's get our guest Jalen Rayford on there. And yeah, he'll be joining us here in just a second. But yeah, I'm excited for this one, guys. And then yeah, Jalen will just respond to that request, and then we'll get you up here on the screen. But yeah, episode 31, and so we got these shirts for sale, long sleeve. They're super thick, super soft, nice quality. They're a nice bright orange color. And yeah, we got these for sale. Just DM at Dreadful Talk Dom on Twitter or Instagram, and we can ship nationwide. Appreciate everybody tuning in live. We're about to get this episode underway. So we're just waiting on the guest to join us, but it is all good because we are very thankful for his time. He's I'll get into it a little bit. Maybe having a little technical difficulty. It's all good. We'll get it ironed out. And we can't overcome a little adversity. I think I just resent it here. Let me do it one more time. I'll cancel that one. Sent. Should be good to go. My guy.
What's up,
brother?
bro?
Hey, you mind just turning that phone? Oh, no, it's all good, my guy. Yeah, there you go, man. No, it is all good. No rush. We appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on the show. This is Dreadful Talk episode 31, and this is my guest, Jalen Rayford, man. Good friend of mine. Know each other for a long time. We played football together back in the day. Great guy, reliable guy, and I'm just excited to talk to you regardless of the podcast, man. I miss you. Wish you well. And yeah, how you doing, brother?
Man. I'm doing good. How about you? It's been good. It's good catching up with you. I see you and Harrison doing your thing and you doing your thing up in Cali.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you. Man, Harrison, I could not have asked for just a more reliable partner on Beefy Boys, man. He's been rock solid every step of the way, which is cool, man, about like forming bonds when we were younger, and then being able to kind of just come full circle later in life, and you never know when your paths might cross again and when you might need somebody to do you a solid. And luckily, I got a bunch of solid guys like you in my corner, man. I appreciate you, man. Where are you coming live from today, man? Are you in Texas? Where are you at right now?
I'm in Fort Smith, Arkansas, where I'm staying at my house.
Oh, okay, right, Arkansas. So you're kind of settled down in Arkansas right now.
Yeah, my wife, she's from this area, which is crazy because going to Oklahoma City, you always see that
the sign.
Fort Smith sign. And I'm like, man, what is a Fort Smith? I have no idea what a Fort Smith is. And then, boom, here I am at Fort Smith.
How do you like it? I've never heard like a review of Fort Smith, Arkansas. How do you like it?
It's really busy because you got a lot of people that live in the city and then people that live on the Oklahoma side. So, like, during the work week, man, it's almost like a game day in Norman, but like way more people.
Yeah. Okay. There's a city like that out here in the Bay called Santa Clara, where like if you look at the population sign, I think it only says like 30,000 or something like that. But every big company like Apple, like eBay, PayPal, all these big tech companies are there that have like thousands of employees. So just like you said, game day, there's literally hundreds of thousands of people that go to this city called Santa Clara. And I mean, it's pretty much part of San Jose, but it's essentially like not many people live there, but yeah, everybody goes there to work. It seems kind of similar.
Yeah, man, it gets really busy. So When I was working on the street, there's days when I'm like, man, it's about to be a busy day.
Hell yeah, man. Just to kind of get into it a little bit, you used to be a police officer, and
Yeah.
and that's kind of all I really know about it because I wanted to save to kind of get into it on the
Mhm.
podcast. I didn't want to, pick your brain too much about it off air,
Yeah.
but yeah, man. So where were you a police officer, and when were you a police officer? Just to kind of get things rolling.
But before we start, this for Jay.
Yes. Oh,
We
I'm
me.
so glad you brought that up, my guy. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man.
R.I.P. Man. Yeah, here's the J, man. We lost a good friend. Norman, Oklahoma lost a good friend. The state of
Yeah.
Oklahoma, the world lost a good man. Jay Finley.
Good dude.
Man, one of those guys. What I just appreciated, Jay, is like he went out of his way, like put great effort into like understanding people that were different from himself.
Yep.
Like that was like a priority in his life, and like I feel like more of us can learn from that, like because it's not convenient to do or easy to do or comfortable to do. But Jay is a guy who never shied
Yeah.
away from a difficult conversation or a
Oh
difficult
no.
topic, and was always open-minded and willing to be educated, and then always also willing to educate others, and like yeah, just a willing participant in change,
Yeah.
and like he's a guy that
He
like
was good. He was,
legitimately
yeah,
like he
really
was trying
good
to make the
dude.
world a better place, man.
Yeah, I just remember him from basketball, but me and him, we'd always have conversations on the bench. And I still followed him through, like, I remember when he joined the Marines. I think he had like a stint doing like being a rodeo clown or something like that, which he had liked. And then he went
Yeah.
into MMA, and I watched him do that. And I was
Yes.
keeping up with him. And then after that, because he would post on Facebook, but then I guess he like went away from Facebook. But I saw that he had a kid, and so when I heard the
Yeah.
news, it was like, man, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was really weird because me and Jay actually got closer, like probably in this past year. And I'm not just
Hmm.
saying that than like we ever were in high school. Like, and it was like, because he came on the podcast, we had like a 3 hour, like deep ass conversation, real conversation. Cause that's the kind of guy Jay was. He
So
got real.
yeah,
Like he wasn't afraid to get real, have a real conversation. And so we went deep. And then like just
hell
yeah, through
yeah,
social media and like keeping up with each other's families and stuff like that, like we had gotten closer with distance than we were when we were living in the same town. It's
right.
it's that's what I like about social media and stuff. Everybody talks about the downsides, and the downsides are obvious. We all know them.
Oh
But
yeah,
the upside, like I was able to not only just maintain a friendship, but grow a friendship
grow a
over
French.
like
Yeah,
1,200, 1,500 miles of distance, man. And
yeah,
yeah, it was a
man.
beautiful thing, man. He was a big supporter of Beefy Boys, man. He was always commenting on our video. That's what I'm gonna miss that so much.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, man. That's another thing I want to touch on too, bro. And as somebody who served in the military and done dangerous things yourself, like I'm sure you might
Hmm.
relate to this, but it's like, so yeah, Jay was in the military. I'm pretty sure he did a tour of duty. He
Yeah.
was like a rodeo clown. He worked with the horses. He was an
Towards yeah.
MMA fighter. He rode a motorcycle all the time. Like he did the most dangerous things. Like if you made a list of like dangerous shit you can do, he pretty much
Right.
checked all the boxes.
He's
And,
up
and,
there
and
on them.
then he tragically passes away in just a routine car drive. Just,
Right.
just, and if that don't put it in perspective, bro, I mean, you know what I'm saying? That hit me
Yeah.
so
That's
hard. Like this man did so much dangerous shit and then died doing the most like routine thing that we all do
the
every
thing that
day.
we all do during the day. He does all these
Yep.
dangerous things, and the thing that everyone just it's just custom. Boom, that happens. But
Yeah, man. It really like I've thought long and hard about that since his passing and just how that
yeah,
makes me want to live my life kind of more fearless in a way. Because think about all
yeah,
the people that told him like, "Oh, you gonna get hurt fighting. You gonna get hurt on that motorcycle." You know what I'm saying? You gonna get hurt if you
yeah.
join the military.
With
Like
that,
you
you
just
can get
gotta
hurt
live
doing
your life.
anything.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like
But
that really like impacted like my like worldview, bro. Like real
yeah,
talk, man. Yeah, man, I'm definitely gonna miss him, brother. But thank you so much for
hey,
taking that time and
of
making a
course.
toast to our fallen brother
Yep.
Jay, man.
That's
There is a GoFundMe. I'm gonna try to share it on the social medias for the
for the podcast viewers that aren't personally know Jay, I'll post the link on my at Dreadful Talk Dom Twitter, and that way you guys can go donate to the Jay Finley Memorial Fund.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, R.I.P. brother, and yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I said this is episode 31, and I know you've been a big supporter. I appreciate all your support since I started this thing, and I have always wanted to have a cop or a former cop on the podcast. Like that's always been a goal of mine. Actually, just to kind of set the stage, this podcast essentially started on the topic of police brutality. Like my first real episode was right after George Floyd the incident, and so ever since that moment, I knew that one day I wanted to have either, like I said, a cop or a former cop on, and not to like for a weird reason or to prove a point, but just to like quite literally hear both sides and B, just actually have the conversation in real life as opposed to everybody trying to act like an expert on Twitter. You know what I mean?
That's how it has to start. Is everyone has to have the conversation and everyone has to get uncomfortable. Like, have you seen that series and that book by Emmanuel Acho, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man?
You know what? I'm aware of it. I haven't actually watched an episode, but I saw he was doing that, and I loved it. As a former athlete, as a podcaster, like I'm all for it. I love seeing him use his platform and do exactly what needs to be done. Yeah, no, I'm aware of it.
That's how it gets done.
Totally, brother.
Just talking about it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Talking about it with an open mind and with an open, without like hateful intent, like because we all do this thing now, and I'm guilty of it just as much as anybody. But like we all want to say like gotcha or like, oh yeah, like you don't have nothing to say back to that. Like we all want those like mic drop retorts on social media and try to make ourselves seem like the smartest man alive. And like sometimes it's good just to pump the brakes and hear some sides out.
Yep. But yeah, we can get. What was your first question? It was about where I was a cop at.
Yeah, where and when.
I was a cop in the city of Fort Smith, so I worked for the city. So I didn't do none of the state police or none of that. And I was about a cop for about a year, just over a year, from August of 19 to November of 20.
So you recently left. I thought you I wasn't aware of how recently you left. Wow, so this is fresh on your old noggin. That's what's up, man. And you're still living in that city. So you were in the police in the city that you lived.
Yeah.
Damn. That's dope. That actually I didn't even have this question written down, but it kind of takes me down the rabbit hole of, because that's a major problem in a lot of big cities and a lot of just places in general. A lot of police officers don't even live in the communities that they're policing.
Nope.
And that can be very problematic.
It's really weird because it's happened to me out twice that I can think of for sure. That I was just, both times I was in Walmart walking and I stopped. Like, man, that person looked familiar. And I had to like look to where I didn't make it seem obvious. But then that person, it was a female. She actually was looking back too. And we kind of made like a weird eye contact. And I was like, it took me a minute to remember what exactly she did to where I had to arrest her for DUI.
Oh shit.
And I was
for
like,
sure, man.
Oh man, that's that late. And she gave me the hardest time too, bro. So I was like, oh man, I gotta get out of here because you're gonna make me mad all over again.
Oh,
well, because it just brought back the memories from how annoying she was.
I get it, man. Yeah.
Just get out my face.
Yeah. You wasn't trying to you wasn't on the clock. You wasn't getting paid to deal with that shit.
Nope.
I feel you, man.
Nope.
Yeah, man. That's a weird dynamic between two human beings. Like that hardly anybody will ever be. Like unless you're a cop, you'll never know what it feels like to be in Walmart and see some crazy bitch that you arrested.
Oh man, she was like, you know who my husband is? I was like, I don't care. You're over here risking everybody else's lives and your life, so we're gonna go do this.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. That's I'm sure as a cop, that's probably one of the things that you probably don't feel bad for arresting somebody for. I mean, that's like you made a choice and you fucked up. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you're putting other people in danger. Like, this isn't some weird thing that happened to you. Like, you definitely did this for yourself.
You're old enough. You made that decision to where you wanted to go to the bar. I mean, everyone goes to the bars, but you made the decision to
be irresponsible.
To be irresponsible. I know some people are like, oh, I go out and I didn't eat. So then what that does, the alcohol hits your blood faster.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
if I normally can drink 4 beers and I don't feel anything, but this time I drank one and I felt everything. It's just because you had nothing in your system.
Oh, yeah. Man, I used to make that mistake. Oh, yeah, dude. I used to make that mistake. Not the driving part, but just like I would go to the bar after work and like I'd like work a late shift and I haven't eaten since like my lunch break or whatever. And I just start pounding. And before you know it, you're like, bad decision for sure, man. So what made you want to be a cop initially?
So I like helping people. Not because there's a lot of people in this world that need help and that get taken advantage of. And it feels good when you get to help somebody doing like helping them figure out what they need and everything. So it was in the back of my mind, but then I never really acted upon it until one day I just woke up and was like, I'm gonna apply, and so I applied and got through the hiring process.
Okay. And do you think that so you were also in the military. Like how long in between like the military and you being a cop? Was there like a gap or like
So I'm still like in the military, like I'm the National Guard or the Air Guard.
Okay.
So I'm still in, but when I got out of active duty, because I was active duty in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, Tennessee. I got out in like 2018. So and then that next year in August 2019, I was hired on into the Fort Smith Police Department.
Okay. And so like do you think that that's for a lot of guys getting out of the military or getting out of active duty, do you think that's kind of just like a natural kind of next step? Like it just kind of makes sense to transition some of those skills over to like the civilian police force?
Yeah, but you got to be careful with, it comes back to the police department. Like, you got to know who you're hiring. 'Cause you never know. There's always going to be the bad apples in jobs, like we always say. Police force law enforcement gets them. Seems like lately they've been getting the brunt of it. But you got to know who you're hiring into your department because it's not just affecting that person's life; it's affecting everybody else's life. So it's like they kind of go hand to hand. They go like hand in hand, but because I know a lot of guys that's like, oh, I was ex-military and joined the police force because it's like that discipline, and the military will bring that discipline over into the law enforcement to where no one's gonna, how to handle situations like professionally and everything. So they're like,
that makes sense.
I can see a lot of people doing that.
Yeah, man. Now you talked about that hiring process real quick, so I want you to kind of talk about kind of what that process was, and then also like I've heard stories and read stories, and a lot of these bad apple cops that end up killing somebody have like already been fired from another police department. How is it like possible? Like essentially, like that's not like a deal breaker. Like you've been fired for being an asshole at somewhere else, but you're good to work here. Like that happens, right? Like
so I want to say like so the department I worked for at Fort Smith, they were great. I told the captain of like the patrol, I was like, I've only worked for one police department, but the way that they police themselves there, it's like top notch, dude. It's like someone does something wrong, boom, right there, someone's correcting you to make sure that you don't mess up, or you're learning so you don't do it again. So in Fort Smith, the police officers they're trained really well. And as for the hiring process, I applied in April of 19, and So it was like the hiring cycle was open for like a month or so. So it closed like in May. Yeah, May. So it took almost like 3-4 months for for me to get hired on, because like when they do their background checks, man, they go way back. Like I think they had called one of my elementary school teachers,
Oh shit.
because
So
they want to make sure they're hiring the right people.
yeah. Now my question is that something that like only Fort Smith does? Because like, how are these bad apples getting in? You know what I'm saying? If they call in third
Yeah,
grade teachers, 'cause, like
there.
I don't
I
know,
know.
like that. That's frustrating.
Yeah, no, it really is. I know there's some police departments who you sign up, you take your test that you got to do and pass. They'll do like a little quick background check, nothing too in depth, and then you're hired on. But Fort Smith, they go really in depth, like
They go the extra mile. What would
yeah, and
would you?
that's good. That's what
Oh,
I like.
yeah, no, for sure. That sounds great. Now you said that like they're doing it by the book and they're doing things the right way. Have you noticed like does that lead to a good relationship between the police and the community? Like does that
Oh
build
yeah.
trust? Like the things seem pretty good over there compared to like in some other places.
Oh yeah, dude. The community, everyone, people just don't like police, so you're gonna have the few people who obviously don't like police, but they love the police, and the community here are awesome. They're like one on one, because Fort Smith is really big into community policing. So they have community relations officers who go out, hand out sack lunches to kids, and just talk to them and see what they can do better. We used to have to do like community contacts where we just go up and talk to citizens of the community, ask them, what can we do better? Is there anything that you've noticed that we can do to help stop this or something? And so it's been really good. It's really good that the community and the police are like one in one, basically.
Yeah, no, that is good because it's definitely not like that everywhere, and I feel like and see, this is kind of where it gets to like, I think the places that want to do good, do good. That's why
Yeah,
whenever bad shit happens, especially if it keeps happening in the same place, like all the fuckery that was going on up in Minnesota, like it was the same place,
yeah,
or like a lot of sketchy shit happens in Louisville, or like there's these cities where it's like it has to be just a bad culture. Like it has to be like
yeah,
I don't know, like I feel like the places that want to do it right are doing it right, and it kind of like some people don't want to have the conversation that like some people may want to do it wrong. Like everybody, it always gets framed as like an accident or oh we didn't know this was happening. But as you've just illustrated, like if a place wants to know what's happening and wants to do the right thing, they can. So these places
yeah,
that aren't doing the right thing, it kind of makes it seem like it's a choice, or like at the very least it's like complicit. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
oh, we're turning a blind eye. We're protecting our own. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
They definitely, if they wanted to, some of these places that aren't as like into the community and helping the community, it seems like they can, if they wanted to, they could, and they would. But I can't speak for every department. I can't speak for everything. So I
no,
just know from my experience, like Fort Smith was big on it, and that's
yeah.
what we did while I was on the force. Like every so often they have like community events where officers sign up and go uh, help feed the homeless and stuff, just to
That's
get
what's
that
up.
interaction.
Random
And so
question: were you drug tested when you were a cop?
the at the beginning, but they randomly do it.
They randomly do it.
Yeah.
They do. All right, that because I've always thought that was so out of line. Like I got to get a drug test to work at Costco, but the motherfuckers carrying guns and arresting people for drugs don't. Like
Oh yeah, no, they do. Like if you ever get in an accident, or sometimes they'll randomly ask you, because that's
randomly
another
pop
thing.
you.
Like if you're out there trying to stop the drugs, you can't have officers doing the drugs also. Like That's another thing. Like you can't have all that sketchy shit going around. Yeah, like we're gonna go arrest this guy for doing this crack, but we got officers in here doing who knows what they're doing back there. So
man,
they make sure.
I feel like, and I mean, so you grew up a black kid in Oklahoma, as did I essentially, and so I don't know, especially compared to your stories in Arkansas and what I've experienced out here in the Bay Area. Like Oklahoma police seem really sketchy in comparison. Like I've had some absolutely horrendous experiences and heard like nightmare stories from friends of just just really sketchy policing going on in the state of Oklahoma in different cities too. Like I had a buddy because I went to school in Shawnee and at OBU. I played football out there, and I had a buddy who got I'm not gonna say no names, but he was busted selling weed out there, and they raided his house and everything because it was before it was legal. And yes, people in Oklahoma, they used to kick down your door for weed. But anyway, like they kicked down his door like SWAT team style, like did a sweep in his house, and and then they got in his safe, I think even without a warrant. And he said he had like £1 and $10,000 in the safe. And he said he got arrested, like on the police report, was $1,000 cash and a £1/4.
Dang.
So they kept that shit. Like, and that's like that's like a real story. And like it just like, yeah, man, it seems like the state of Oklahoma needs to definitely put the effort in that places like Fort Smith and I'll even speak, like I live in San Jose, California now, and man, I mean, all my experiences with the cops out here have been way different than like my experience with the cops in Oklahoma. Like now, granted, you know, I'm living a better life than I was back then too, so maybe that has something to do with it. But you know what I'm saying? Like out here in San Jose, like almost every interaction with the cop I've had, like we have a lot of like women of color that are officers and like a lot of like officers of color. And I'm not saying like that needs to be like a mandate, like affirmative action or anything, but I'm just saying like I think it helps. I think to have a diverse police force is a benefit, not a discredit. Like I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, that's another thing. The captain I talked to before I left, he was like, "How can we get more diverse?" Because when I was on, there was about 4 or 5. I'm probably missing some. About 5 of us that were
out of how many?
Like 150.
Oh shit! So we're talking like 3%.
Yeah,
something like that. Wow.
It was small, and it's just I think a lot of people are just afraid to apply because then you get hit with the stigma. Oh, now you're the ops. And you just gotta get over it. Like for me personally, I knew what I was signing up for the job for. I knew that I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to help get drugs off the street that could do damage to like the city. Could do damage to me or my family. I'm trying to, because I have a son and I have a daughter on the way. I want to make sure that,
brother.
Appreciate it. I want to make sure that they're living in a good city to where I don't have anything to worry about. I mean, they're going to because they're black. Racism's still alive and even more alive today. But coming from like the drugs part of it, I don't want to have them worry about that because seeing being on the street, seeing what these drugs do to people, I knew that what it did, but then I actually saw it like really firsthand. It's not. I don't see how people can do it. Now I know why loved ones are like really, when their loved ones gets on some hardcore drugs, they don't know what to do because man, it will change a person to like no avail.
Oh yeah, man. Like it's crazy because I'm obviously super pro cannabis and like pro mushrooms and like chill stuff like that. But like when it comes to like meth and heroin and crack and shit, like I have like a no tolerance. Like I will like cut you out of my life. Like if I know you fucking with that shit, like I can't fuck with you. And like because like I grew up in like meth ravaged neighborhoods. Like I've lived in meth ravaged neighborhoods in Purcell, meth ravaged neighborhoods and Shawnee. It's so bad, like Walking Dead zombies. And but then I had never really experienced none of the heroin shit, none of the opioid shit. But then I moved out here to the Bay, bro, and like San Francisco is like. Have you ever seen the show The Wire?
Yeah.
So like remember the hamster dam where they like legalized drugs and it was like just chaotic in the streets. Like that's really what San Francisco's like. Like literally, like my boy Rod. You remember Rodney, Papa Rodney. He was visiting me out here, and we went to San Francisco. And we were walking from bar to bar and kind of bar hopping, and like we step over this guy who I'm going to go ahead and assume he was asleep, but maybe he was dead. I don't know. I didn't stop to check. And he had like a needle sticking out of his arm, and he was just like laying down in the middle, like. And we were drunk and we like stepped over him and then we looked down and was like, oh shit. No. And then like I went to a concert and like outside the concert venue, it's like the Civic, I think it's like the Graham Civic Center or some shit. It's like a famous concert venue in San Francisco. And I shit you not, bro. Like it's open air, like 30 people were lined up on a bench, at least 30, maybe even 50, like as far as the eye can see. And they were all shooting up, like just open out. Just not even hiding it. And like, I used to be kind of on that, like, like, like legalized drugs and shit. But like, man, like I'm down for weed and mushrooms and chill shit. But like that heroin and meth, like you can't be having that shit in the community, dog. Like you can't. Like it's all bad.
Man, I remember this one guy, I talked to him, and he was super cool. And then, like, the week before I left the department, I had to deal with him again. And he had tested positive for all these different types of drugs and everything. And he was a totally different person. And he was a big dude.
Wow.
So when people are on drugs like that, you never know how they're going to react. So then, like being a police officer, every situation, you're kind of heightened because you never know what's going to happen. But then when someone's on drugs, you're a little bit more heightened because one little thing can flip that person. You never know what's going to happen. You may have to go hands-on with that person, or you don't know if that person has a gun or anything.
Did you ever get in like a fight? Did you ever have anything
I've had
really crazy happen?
I had to like restrain that guy to the hospital bed so he can get his shot of ketamine.
Oh, okay.
And he kept hitting my mic. And so when he kept hitting my mic, I kept coming up over dispatch. And they kept asking, like, are you okay? And I couldn't talk to him because I was trying to hold this guy down. But then I finally was able to come over. I didn't get into like any foot pursuits or anything.
I mean, that's good, right? That's a good thing.
Yeah. It seemed like every day I was on shift, nothing like that big happened. But anytime I was off shift, man, it'd be like, man, this person got into a foot pursuit. This person did this, and I was like, it's every time. And it was crazy because during the summer I got put on military orders. So I was working during the summer. I worked at the Army base here at Fort Chaffee, and I was coming home one day, and this car was going. I don't know how. The speed limit was about 50. This car was trying to turn left onto this, like on the street, and just got plowed, dude.
Oh shit! You like saw it happen?
Yeah, saw it happen. I've never seen something like that happen in front of me. So at first I was like, oh wow. But then I got out the car because I was in my military uniform. So I was still at the police department. So I was I
definitely had like a civic duty. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get out the car, and the guy that was driving, he's getting out his car, but I guess his adrenaline's so like up that his legs are like wobbling, like almost as if he was drunk. Like his legs he was like stumbling like this because he had his kid in the car in the front seat who happened to be autistic, nonverbal.
Oh shit!
And so he gets over there, and I have to tell him to sit down. And he's like, my son. So I go and ask him. His son didn't have a scratch on him at all, and he was just
big. That's good to hear.
He was just big chilling. That was like he was just sitting there. Obviously, he didn't know what was going on, but he was
Yeah,
just
man.
chilling. But then I went over to the car that he had hit, and her car looked like a sea, bro. So
Damn. Was she all right?
no, she ended up dying.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
Damn.
like her
Oh,
car, like
man.
where she got hit on the driver's side. So when I went over to where she was like sitting, or basically in like the passenger seat,
Fuck, man.
and her neck,
That's
like her neck was like this, but her face was like turned that way, dude. It was pretty
oh
wild.
shit. Damn. Yeah, man. That's what I always think about too, man. Like when I think of like, and it's not an excuse, but I just like to think of things from all angles. And like when
Yeah,
some cops end up doing some sketchy shit or something, it's like, because you saw like that was probably the worst thing you saw, right? Like what? But like
yeah,
imagine if you did
well,
that
yeah,
job for 30 fucking
yeah,
years, and you like how many bodies and just how much fucked up shit is in your mind. That
yeah.
changes a person,
It
after so many years.
it does, and so another thing is like everybody handles like situations like that different.
Yeah.
Like officers, you gotta get like desensitized really, because
You'd almost have to.
you're gonna see it every day, or not. You're not gonna see it every day, but if you do it for 30 years, like you're saying, you're gonna see it, so you're gonna have to. So some people when they do it, they're sad with the family. Some people crack jokes, and that's just how someone gets over,
Deals
which
with it.
deals with, which I can understand. Like, oh, you went to this accident, but you're laughing. You're laughing at this. No, it's like how I deal with tragedy. You can't,
Yeah.
to me, you can't fault someone for how they handle tragedy because each person handles it different,
True,
and that's
true.
what
And
a
it's
lot of
like
officers are like.
it's like is that probably the perfect way to handle it? No, but
Yeah,
like who's
no,
perfect? You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
nobody. So no, I feel you, man. I kind of want to ask you kind of like a more of a philosophical question, because
yeah,
it seems to be one of my personal biggest beefs with police, and it's not
hmm
even individual cops. It's kind of just how the whole system works. It's like, in my opinion, there's zero like crime prevention. Like crime prevention is like a term that's like used by politicians and shit, but doesn't actually
hmm
exist in real life. Because in real life, a crime happens, and then the police are called and then show up after it happens. And
yeah,
so as far as like protecting a citizen or preventing a crime, like it's kind. And I'm like I said, I'm not faulting necessarily the officers themselves, because I mean, how are you going to stop something you don't know is happening?
yeah,
And it's a tricky conversation. But I just that like because my truck was stolen this year, and
yeah.
my truck was stolen, and then like I shit you not, like an hour and a half after I called the cops, they they sent like the little meter maid, the little, it's like civilian car that writes parking tickets. Like they sent her out like an hour and a half after I called, and they were like pissed that I called 911. Like, this isn't an emergency. I was like, well, fuck me. I consider it an emergency. My
Yeah,
fucking truck
my
is gone.
vehicle's gone. Yeah,
Yeah. And like, and so like, and I just remember being like, this isn't helping anything. Like, I would have been better off spending that hour and a half looking for my truck. And I just like,
yeah,
I don't know, like as somebody who's done the job, and I know it's a hard job, and I don't necessarily say I have the answer, but like, is there a way that like crime could be even prevented more, or like do you think that like reactionary is the only really way to go about it?
yeah. It's probably the only way because you there's only so many like cops in a city,
Yeah,
and
facts.
so like for me like when I was working beats, I would or what we're taught and told is like, hey, just drive around your troubled neighborhoods, make yourself known, because once if someone sees you, they're probably going to leave that area. So when like that happens, a lot of cops, you just need to make yourself known. Just drive around. That's what I do. I drive
True.
around my neighborhoods, wave at people outside. I would talk to the best people are the neighbors or the people that live in that obviously that neighborhood
Yeah, like
because
the homeowners.
there's always that one person that lives in the neighborhood that knows like everything about that neighborhood. They're gonna notice when something's out of the ordinary, and sometimes they're gonna be wrong, but a lot of times they're probably gonna be right because they know that area. So they're gonna be like, hey, this vehicle keeps coming in at this time, leaves at this time, and then another vehicle comes, and so like you're like, okay, and that's happened. People have gotten arrested by it, and like it was like, hey, go check out this house, or so we'll go look at it.
Okay.
We won't do anything just to make sure, and then come to find out that was like a drug house. So you just gotta make yourself known, and like you're not gonna be able to stop the crime and if you can stop a crime in progress, man, kudos to you. That's like really,
the goal, like the best case scenario.
Yeah, that's what you want to stop it before it gets, because you never, like I was saying, you never know how each situation is going to turn out. You could start off as a little traffic stop, and boom, just like the I don't know if it was a traffic stop or not, but those 2 officers that got shot in Tulsa, they were trying to pull the guy out of his car, and he ended up. The video was weird. I don't know if I think he pulled a gun out, or he had a gun in his car somewhere, and he was able to hide it, and then he shot both of them. And you can see it on their body cameras. And, man, it was rough. And just like the weird thing for me, it was last December? Yeah, I was probably on the street for maybe a week or two, like in my field training where I have another officer, a senior officer riding with me. And this guy in Fayetteville, which is like 45 minutes away, sitting in his patrol car at the station, dude comes up and just starts shot like 45 rounds and killed him.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I definitely, whenever, like the whole 2 sides to every story, right? Like bodies are dropping on both sides. That's for sure. And that's whenever I start to wonder if we're just kind of too far down a road of like, because it's essentially damn near a war, and like any war, civilians get caught in the crossfire.
Yep.
And good people die in wars, and bad people die in wars. And it really is like, because policing in a perfect world, like if you are writing like a book on like how to police, it wouldn't be a war.
Yeah.
But if a war's already started, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't necessarily just it's so tricky and nuanced. That's another thing that I think is missing from this dialogue is the nuance. There's so much just black and white, or both figuratively and literally black and white. You know what I'm saying? Just like it's just good and bad, black and white. Good and bad. It's just and in reality, I mean, most of life, most people take place in that gray area, right?
Yeah.
Like most people ain't all the way good or all the way bad all the time. Yeah. It's a spectrum. It shifts, and we all have good days, bad days. We've all done shit we're not proud of, and we've all done shit we are proud of. And like, yeah, man, I because like when I've come a long way on this. Like when I was younger and I was living my life on the wrong side of the law, I was definitely more like, fuck the police and all that shit. But obviously I was living my life like essentially illegally. So like, that's just what it was. It was adversarial. But as I've gotten older, I got a family now, and I'm not doing nothing I don't need to be doing anymore. It's like I really have started to try to understand both sides of the coin a lot more, and also just like being in big cities like San Francisco and like seeing like real ass crime like happen before your eyes. It makes you realize like, oh, this is why police exist. Like, it's like when you're living in a town like Norman, Oklahoma, like let's just keep it a buck. And Norman is a very over-policed town, in my opinion, because not a lot of shit goes down in Norman, but they treat it like it's fucking like Baltimore. But anyways, like in a town like Norman, with not a lot of violent shit happens, you're not stepping over, drug needles and shit in a place like Norman. It's easy to tell yourself what? Why are all these fucking, why are they always fucking with people for weed? And it's real easy it was easy for me as a youngin' to be angry at police, because Norman said, I still to this day feel like Norman is over policed for the type of town it is. But then, like I said, now I'm older, and you go to a place like San Francisco, where people regularly get mugged and stabbed and shot and all, just you're stepping over overdose.
It's what you hear about, real policing. Everywhere's a real police, but it's the stuff you hear about on First 48 and stuff.
Bro, I swear to God, San Francisco reminds me of The Wire so much. I know The Wire came out forever ago, but so I had all my San Francisco experiences, and then I just recently started watching The Wire, and so I'm like, oh, dude, that reminds me so much of San Francisco, because it's really like that, drug corners and all that shit, and it's it definitely shifted my perspective on just definitely we need police. Police are a necessary function of a healthy society. You know what I mean? And it just it needs to be done right, and it can be done right. And I'm actually glad you came on and told me that, the places in your experience, you've seen things done the right way, and you've seen cities and police departments putting effort into kind of righting these wrongs. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, let's just keep it real. Fort Smith, Arkansas, I bet at some point in history probably had a rough history of police. You know what I'm saying? It's the South. It's Arkansas. Let's just, but at some point down the line, they made the decision, this shit's got to change, and we got to do shit the right way. And it gives me hope, honestly, because especially in being out here in California in the Bay Area, a lot of people, might roll their eyes at a place like Fort Smith, Arkansas, but yet, a place like that in the South with a history like Arkansas is still putting in the effort to do the right thing. And it's if they can do the right thing in Fort Smith, Arkansas, you can do the right thing in Minneapolis or Louisville or whatever, Baltimore, whatever city, that's having these fucked up police problems.
Everybody needs to just learn to hold themselves accountable. That's to me, that's one of the first parts to do is when I was on the street, I knew how bad people like to play the victim, but man, it's bad how people you did this, and now you're just angry because you got caught. That's the real reason you got caught. You got caught stealing you can't steal. You can't go and steal somebody's. My friend got his truck stolen.
Yeah.
You can't be mad that you got caught. You chose to steal somebody else. Like you saying, I'd be really mad if my vehicle got stolen, and I'd want somebody brought to justice. Yeah. So, but then on the police side, it's if you have someone in your department mess up, hold them accountable. Whatever it is, there's certain for something small, you just can't just straight fire somebody. Everyone makes mistakes. I mean, there's certain mistakes that probably aren't as forgivable, but if someone does something a little minor, you can write them up. But if they keep doing it, there's a pattern going on, then you're gonna have to get rid of that person in your department.
Yeah.
And so that's what I feel like everybody needs to hold each other. Civilians, we need to hold ourselves accountable. Than law enforcement, not law enforcement anymore. They need to hold themselves accountable, which, and I know Fort Smith, they do that, and they make sure. And what I love when I was on the street is body cameras.
Yeah, that's been a game changer.
They tell there's tons of times when people are like, oh, I'm going to write you up for this because you did this, and I'm just I tell them, please go ahead and do it. Because I know I'm recording.
Yeah.
That's going to tell the whole truth right there. And you know how many times it's saved officers from complaints?
It's mutually beneficial to both sides. The body cameras for sure. That's been a huge thing. That's probably been a change for good that's happened recently, as far as police reform. I was like the body cameras. Almost every city has mandatory body cameras now. That's definitely a step in the right direction. But yeah, I agree with you on the like as far as like my opinion on the police reform. I'd like to see is how just like you said, being held accountable and because I think what a lot of people like a lot of the people that are like getting so upset and fed up with police, it's like like I worked at a sporting goods store for a while, right? And if I kept fucking up at the sporting goods store, I was gonna get fired. And there's people, they work at a car dealership, and if they keep scratching up all the cars, they're gonna get fired. Or like, you know what I'm saying? If you're working at Walmart and if you keep dropping flat screens, you're gonna get fired. Like, and there's people at home, and then they're seeing with people as a job as important as dangerous as powerful as a police officer, and yet they're just allowed to keep fucking up.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes up. Like, damn, how am I as like a Walmart employee being held to like a higher standard than this guy walking around with a gun and a badge? Which I know it's not like that everywhere, but in certain places, or like these departments that hire people that have been fired from another department. Like, if you've been fired as a cop, like that's it. That's like if you get cut as an NFL player, like you done. Like, it's just like, I don't know. Like, I don't think like, if you get fired from being a cop, you shouldn't be able to move a couple towns over and go fuck with those people instead.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. They'll get fired and then they'll like move to a different city, probably
like a smaller town
where they don't do as in-depth background checks, and then they end up messing up. And they're like, come to find out, this is like his 16th write-up for the same thing, and you're like, dude, what the heck? But then there's oh, we're not going to do anything. Just don't let it happen. Then he does it again. And then that's when everyone, like, that's my biggest issue. It got on my nerves was you're not holding your police officer is supposed to be held to like the highest standard. Like, we're there to protect the city or like whatever city or the citizens.
The people of the city.
City. Yeah. So, you really can't mess up. I mean, you're going to mess up, but you can't just walk into somebody's wrong apartment and just shoot them. You can't, like, that was weird. That one was weird to me. The whole Dallas one.
Oh, yeah, the Dallas one and essentially the Breonna Taylor one, too. I mean,
I just watched a video about that.
Yeah, man.
About how they, like, executed the warrant and everything. It was weird.
Yeah, and I'm glad that like that resulted in at least in the city of Louisville, they stopped doing no-knock warrants, because like you can't do that's the thing, you can't do no-knock warrants in a state with loose gun laws. Like what I'm saying is, like, in the South, everybody has guns, and if somebody kicks down their door, they're shooting. So like you can't now in a place like the Bay Area. You could probably do it. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. Like, there's not a lot of gun ownership out here. And but like in Oklahoma and Texas and Louisiana and Florida, like, you're kicking down people's doors and expecting them not to shoot at you. Like, good luck with that.
You kicking a door down, you're probably going to get hit in the head with a gun that's hanging on top of the door frame or something like that.
Yeah, man. And so that's another like mutually beneficial thing. Like, not only is that good for citizens to stop no-knock warrants, that makes the police's job a lot safer as well. Because just like, and I understand you want the opportunities for surprise, and you don't want them to have a chance to flush the drugs or whatever. But hey, like, you can't just be running up in people's houses without announcing you're there, because then like somebody can't surrender to you. Like, you can't even that puts the person, even like, say they're a criminal, say you're a drug dealer and your house get kicked down, it doesn't even give you the option to like comply. You know what I'm saying? It takes. Because like a lot of times, somebody gets shot, it's like, oh, well, they didn't comply. But like, if you kick somebody's door down without knocking, they don't even have a chance to comply. They don't even, it takes like peace off the table. You know what I'm saying? It's war at that point.
Yeah. What was I going to say? The compliant thing, officer, we're the law. We got to uphold the law. So if they tell you to do something, if it's within the rules, you got to do it. So like, I had pulled this guy over. He he was a sovereign citizen. You know, they record everything. He's like, I'm recording you, and I was like, so am I. And so he wouldn't get out the vehicle because he didn't. Oh wow, he didn't have
I was going to ask you this.
a license
warrant?
plate.
Oh,
No, he didn't have license plate. So I really was going up there and like, hey, you know, you can't be or you got when you're driving you got to have a license plate because that's actually how a lot of vehicles are stolen. They'll steal that vehicle, take off that license plate, and just start driving. So I was like, hey, you got this, but then he started filming me and saying I'm not driving, I'm traveling or something like that, and all this, you know, what they think, and so it almost became a big deal to where we would have had to like force him out the vehicle because he wasn't complying. Because then he wouldn't give us his name, so then if an officer asks you for your name, you have to give it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm asking you. What are the things, just for myself and everybody watching, to just trying to keep people safe, keep officers safe? Like, what are the things that you have to do? Like, I know the name is one of them. So if an officer tells you to get out of the car, you have to do it.
Yeah. And then
but you can lock your car, right? Like is that they don't have the right to search your car. I know that much.
We gotta have everything's like consent. Consent is key. Everyone knows that. But like, say I pull you over and you don't give me your name, or you give me a fake name, right there I could arrest you for like governmental operations and stuff. Because you're
fake name's a big deal. I knew that one. You can't lie to the police about your name. I knew that one. That's definitely a thing. But the get out of your car thing was always iffy to me. I feel like that one's a little bit of a gray area. Or like if you get out of your car, like you definitely have the right to lock your doors, and then they need a warrant.
What's the reason? Like the reason for me? Like say I asked you to get out of the car. Like why?
Yeah.
I would have to have a reason. I just can't tell you to get out your vehicle. I got like reasonable suspicion and probable cause and all that stuff. I got to have one of those for you to get. I just can't.
You see a beer can or you see some drug pipes or some shit like that, right? Like that.
Now, that you have to, because now you either probably have some drugs in the car or you're driving impaired or intoxicated. So then that's boom right there. But I just can't pull you over for
Let me ask you
speeding and
this.
then say get out your vehicle.
Yeah, what about like where? And I'm asking because I've seen a lot of like police videos happen of this, and I've had experiences like this. And like, where does like somebody being rude, like when does that cross the threshold? Like, because I've seen cops want to pull a cop out or somebody out of their car just because they talked to them rude or didn't like their attitude. Or, you know, like where's the line on that? Like if is a citizen illegally allowed to tell you to go fuck yourself? Like I know that's kind of funny question, but
that's not a crime. Like
crime, right?
Yeah, it's not a crime. So like that's what people. When I was in the police academy, we were told like you can't arrest someone for flipping you off. Like that's not a crime. Flipping somebody off isn't a crime. Or telling someone to go fuck off isn't a crime. But like if they did that, like I think one guy told me that and I just looked at him like, okay. That you can say that, like you're not doing anything.
Yeah. But a lot of cops get their egos involved.
Yeah, ego, yeah.
And they get their feelings hurt.
Yeah, that's the thing. They get their egos involved and they start using that badge for the wrong reasons. And that's when stuff will escalate. And a lot of people need to learn how to de-escalate situations. Yeah. And like in Fort Smith, I went to this class called crisis intervention training. It's where I was like trained on how to deal with like mentally ill people.
Because that's really cool. You got that training.
That's a really big deal here. I know in Fort Smith is the homeless population is really big here, honestly.
Oh, wow.
And we're trained on how to deal with people like that because not everyone can get medicated So that bad day is because they didn't get their medication or they had that flip where that caused them to do something. And not everybody deserves to go to jail for, like, some people need to go get, like, to rehab.
Yeah.
Because the brain is powerful. When it's all messed up in there, you're gonna do some messed up things. Now, if it's caused from drugs, then I don't feel too bad for you. But if it's
I
like,
feel you.
because you chose to do that heroin or crack or whatever. But if it's like a disorder, then you couldn't have helped that. So you need to get
No,
help.
that's real.
The jail's not gonna help you. Like a rehab center may help you. And so Fort Smith is really good on that. They have all.
That's dope.
We're all so most of the officers now, they're trying to get all their officers trained into that, and so
that's good, man. I think, and I think that's going to be a trend in more and more cities and more places across the country. I think that's going to go a long way to improving that community police relationship. I really do. And I know we're coming up. We're pretty much just hit the hour mark. I got one last question that I forgot to ask you, and I don't want to end this without asking it. So what was the official, like, what made you just decide that, like, you're not going to be a police officer anymore?
I just went, like I said, it was weird. Just one day I was like, man, I don't see myself doing this job for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
I'm still young. I'd rather get out now than in 4 or 5 years. Because there's times when sometimes you're just stuck. Because you invested so much time into it. You're just like, I'm stuck. Like, it would be worse for me to go quit this job and start a new one than, because basically once you hit like 10 years here, it's like you're almost kind of stuck because you invested so much time into it, in like your retirements, because they have a really good retirement here, but you invested so much time, you're just like, man, I don't want to do this. And like, I was like, I got a son, I want to start seeing him more and all this, and which, I mean, I enjoyed my time on the law enforcement. I learned a lot.
I bet.
And I was like, man, because then I saw you start doing these podcasts. Like, man, I'm gonna hit him up one day and talk to him from my point of view, because one, I was a police officer, and two, or I should say, one, I was I'm black, and two, I was a black police officer. So
definitely,
I got like both sides, like.
No, which is exactly why I was so stoked on this episode, and I was so stoked on having you on. And you're the perfect man to talk to about, like seriously, bro. This, and I'm sure I might have like a white cop on one day or something. But I feel like just the kind of commonality and just your unique perspective and your unique experience was exactly the perspective I was trying to bring to the podcast and to the audience. And yeah, man, I can't thank you enough for your time, man. Thank you so much for being a part of, Dreadful Talk episode 31. Thanks for everybody that viewed live on Instagram. This will go on YouTube, and then the audio will go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all those audio platforms. But yeah, man, thank you so much for being a part of it, and thank you for your service, and thank you for, I wish you and your family a happy New Year, brother.
Yeah, before we go, I do want to say, like, for everybody, because me being on the law enforcement side when I was, like, I know it's super hard and very hard, but you still should try to trust that officer until they give you a reason to not trust them. Like, when I would go to calls, I would go there. I really wanted to get to the bottom or help you what was going on. If someone stole something from you, I'd get all the information that I could, so that person, that the suspect, would be brought to justice. But if you already have that negative connotation of, oh man, the police are coming, I'm not going to help them, then I can't do my job to help you get your stuff back, or maybe you won't get your stuff back, but you can possibly get restitution. And I know it's hard, but you want to, and it's super hard because all these cops are making it harder, but you want to judge the person by their character, not their. And it's almost like with racism too. Don't judge someone, their skin color, judge them by their character. But
I think it's good to just look at human beings as individuals, and regardless of what the larger group you're trying to classify them as, every human is unique. And yeah, I feel you kind of giving people the benefit of the doubt, and a little bit of trust on both sides can go a long way. I feel that, brother.
Until they give you a reason not to, then but if they're just there to do their job, get your information and help you get your stuff back, there's no reason. You don't need to be angry at them. I mean, everyone takes stuff out on somebody, but just don't start going crazy and just maybe calm down and be like, okay, they're trying to help me get my stuff back. Don't just shut yourself off just because you had a bad experience with one officer, but you've dealt with thousands of them. But that one experience is going to stick with you forever, but don't let that one.
That was going to be my counter argument. It was, and just kind of to play devil's advocate, not trying to disagree too much, but just it's real easy to say trust them until they give you a reason not to. But if that's already happened to you, it's kind of the whole fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Some people have that opinion, and that kind of makes sense if you think about it. And then another thing is, like, a lot of times if you wait till they give you a reason not to trust them, it's kind of too late. You're already fucked.
I agree.
I feel what you're saying, and I feel the spirit of what you're saying, and I know it's coming from the right place. I just, for somebody, if the last time you got pulled over, you got your ass kicked, what I'm saying? It's going to be hard to have, a chipper attitude, you know what I'm saying? But that's an extreme scenario. Most people, like I said, fall somewhere in the middle. And I think that's another thing to end this episode on is just common ground. And we have more things in common than we have differences, I think, in a lot of cases, man, for sure.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I get what you're saying. Also, it's one of those hard areas, like you're.
It's a balance. I feel it. I feel it, brother, for sure, man. But I'll be real. I'm glad, even if it was just for the year, the people of Fort Smith, Arkansas had a man like you looking out for him, man. And I'm glad, you were able to come and share your perspective. And this was great, bro. I really just appreciate everything you had to say.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad I hit you up, man. It's good to hear both sides, like from the law enforcement. Now I'm a civilian, but then hearing from your point of view, living in San Fran and all that, and so it was good to hear that. It was good catching up and everything.
Most importantly, brother, it's good seeing your face. It's good hearing your voice, and man, always rooting for you, brother. Always, love seeing you and your family so happy, man. And maybe, hopefully, one of these days after the pandemic, we can all link up somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, that'd be great, brother, man. I'm looking forward to that day, man.
Right, same here.
Oh yeah, bro. All right, brother. You have a great rest of your day, man. I appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much.
Best wishes to you and Nina, man.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Thank you, man.
For sure. Yep.